So at a high level, there's very little policy risk around the CFD. I think government's committed to maintaining the CFD. We could see some changes post this allocation round, ahead of the next allocation round, but I think they're going to be evolutionary rather than revolutionary. There's a lot going on under the surface, though, that does have an impact on developers and investors in offshore wind. So things that they might think are irrelevant or trivial actually could have quite a profound effect on the economics of their investment. So, for example, at the moment, there's changes going on to the way transmission charges are calculated and collected, which will fundamentally move something that was a benefit to offshore wind generation to a cost. I'm not entirely sure that a lot of the investors are aware of that. They probably should be aware of that before they start bidding into CFD auctions. Our models always suggest a number, and then you can almost discount 15–20% off them. So in terms of prices, I think we're looking at a range of somewhere between £47 and £53 a megawatt hour. I think it's going to be hugely dominated by offshore wind. Somewhere between 8 and 10 gigawatts of offshore wind projects probably are looking to come into this auction. There's a 6 gigawatt capacity cap, and they're very definitely going to be the cheapest. I think a lot of the bidders will take a look at the pipeline of projects coming. So stuff in the round 4 leasing, there's existing projects with licenses that haven't got full consents to come into a CFD auction. There's extensions to offshore wind projects, all of which could come into subsequent CFD auctions. So the competitive pressure is not going to go away. I think government will reduce strike prices for the next auction again. So whilst this may look tight in terms of economics, you probably take the view it's as good as it's going to get, and therefore you'll bid to the bone to try and win a CFD this time round. I think when government started this process, it was in a very different context of decarbonisation objectives. You've got the Climate Change Committee coming forward with net zero advice, which is significantly, potentially, going to ramp up the amount of capacity we need to deliver. Delivering 70 to 80 gigawatts of offshore wind under a CFD, which basically takes generators away from the wholesale market, insulates them against wholesale power prices, has a fundamental impact on how the wholesale market functions. And whilst investors will be focusing project by project on strike prices, governments will be thinking about the system effects of that. And I think it's credible. I don't think it's a given, but I think it's credible that we will see reforms to the CFD that try and introduce more exposure to wholesale power prices so that CFD generators act and behave in a market much like other generators do at the moment. So I think that's one big issue that we will definitively see come to the fore between now and the next allocation round. Personally, I think government know they're onto a good thing and they're unlikely to make radical changes. And I think they'll also manage it sensitively because they recognise we've got billions of pounds of capital either invested in this sector or looking to invest in this sector over the next 10 years. And what they can't do is deter people from investing in the UK in favour of investing in other competing markets. So we will see change, but I think it's going to be evolutionary and steady rather than sudden and revolutionary.